Chapter 3. Made in a Main's House. Welcome back, Master Hakuren, Blue, Swearin, Green, Karen, Red, and Jaikuren, White, said, greeting Sena in maid outfits as he exited the carrier ship. God damn it, Kiriko said to herself. Come on in, you must be tired, Hakuren said, grabbing Sena by his hand as she led him inside. Sena, please be quiet about us being sent here from Seto, Hakuren whispered to Sena. He nodded silently. Oh wow, our new maids are almost as pretty as you, Amain, Irma said. But Amain remained unexpectedly calm. Really? I hadn't even noticed. Oh! You used to be a supermodel, aren't you jealous? That was in the past. I didn't choose that job and I've moved on. Things like that don't matter to me, Amain said, laughing without a care in her voice. Oh, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry, Irma said. They're also exactly what I was expecting from someone recommended by Mikami. Royals have to uphold a certain atmosphere, even with those who work under them, so it's not that surprising. I'm sure they will do a great job of looking after Sena, Amain said. Kiriko had other thoughts in her head as she was rapidly approaching Jaikuren. I would like to consult with you and the other maids about how you four will be sharing the household chores, so why don't you gather the other housekeepers in the kitchen so we can talk in private? And with that, Kiriko and the 4 Seto scouts went into the kitchen. Kiriko looked around for a bit to make sure the coast was clear before she blurted out. Okay, what are you planning? What's the big idea? Oh my Kiriko, I've never seen you with such a scary face, Jaikuren said, teasing Kiriko. Hakuren could feel Kiriko getting upset, so she hurried in and broke up the conversation between the two. Jaikuren, be silent. Hey Kiriko, no I mean to say Kiriko-sama, I guess you have some idea of what's going on, so I won't patronize you. I was okay with Seto assigning you 4 to keep an eye on Sena, but I am not okay with it taking this form. We've been sent here because of what happened at the entrance ceremony and because of the kidnapping incident yesterday. Yes, it seems recently something is going on at the academy and we aren't quite sure what it is. Didn't Mikami tell you about it the other day? Kiriko remembered the explosion at the entrance ceremony that uncovered a horde of brain-remodeled spies. Kiriko also remembered the trailer-type meeting room from the other day that she met Mikami in and realized that the reason for meeting her there was not to keep what they were talking about secret, but rather to keep Kiriko safe in case of an emergency. Everyone is busy watching over the most important people at the academy, but unfortunately Sena's been deemed a low priority. So this dispatch was a personal request from Lady Seto and Mikami. Kiriko understood the situation. Sena had a lot of potential, but his ability was a double-edged sword. Indeed, many of Sena's incidents had produced tremendously good results, but also a lot of disasters had also been caused. It was necessary to prepare for them. I'm sorry, I guess I should actually thank you for your help. I can understand your concerns, Kiriko, but don't worry, Sena is in good hands with us around to watch over him. I'll make sure there aren't any problems, Hakuren said confidently while looking at Jaikuren like Kiriko had earlier. Why are you looking at me? I'm not planning on doing anything, I swear. Yes, but you're just like Widow when it comes to men, Karen said. The rest of the girls burst out laughing at this unexpected remark. Jaikuren had such a rare beauty it had caused her many troubles with male relations. She had made many a man go insane from things like sending them a small gaze or any of her other ordinary, everyday behaviors. I'm not going to do anything. Why won't you believe me? I don't think it even matters if you try to do something or not. Remember the last time we took a day off and got on that spaceship cruise of newlyweds? Wait. Was that the day when Karen tried to do the hula? Oh yeah, I remember that. It was hilarious watching her try. By the time the trip was over, it nearly turned into a 100-couple group divorce. You're over-exaggerating. I only broke up 5 of them. If I hadn't stopped you, you probably would have broken up the whole ship. I'm sure at least one of them would have been fine, besides Sena isn't that kind of guy. Well, in any case, Jaikuren should not be allowed close to Sena's room except during an emergency, Kiriko said, and she left the room to go into the living room. In the second kitchen of Nashisu, dozens of cooks were busy preparing meals for the evening. Many people were fans of the shop, but it was small and only had one location, so not everyone who liked its food had a chance to physically eat there. So when Eri took over managing the store, she established a special membership program for people who wanted it delivered to their homes. The second kitchen was as large as a food factory, and it was filled with people making lunchboxes for delivery that night because a lot of places were still closed due to the computer troubles of the past few days. So they were flooded with nearly 3 times their usual orders. Eri was wearing a form-fitting suit worn to keep the room in a sterile and dust-free state that was required for manufacturing. She was filling an especially large order and making sure all the items were perfect before she left for the night. Damn it. It's like someone intentionally ordered such a troublesome order on purpose. Okay. All right, then everything is done. Now I'll just leave the shipping up to the overnight workers and leave. Eri said to herself. She waved to the cooks and headed for the transfer gate. She came out from the transfer gate into her office in nothing but her underwear and proceeded to sit down on the sofa before she began checking her email. As the Academy's president, it was usual for her to receive a large number of emails every day. Eri's secretaries were responsible for dividing them according to importance and transferring only the minimum necessary for Eri to check 3 times a day, but still the number she had to check was never under 100. Eri checked through it again with a special filter. She didn't actually read any of the uncategorized mail, but she still verbally replied to it and sent a reply. Please continue your hard work. Shut up. Do it quickly. Let's do it. I'll kill you. And at the end, 1 mail remained. Rairaza? That's a rare person to hear from. I wonder if it's about a main-chan. She was about to open the email when she got a call from Minaho. How are you, Mom? Oh, Minaho. You look well as ever. What are you calling about? I heard that Sana moved into his new place, so I figured we should celebrate. She said, pointing to the transfer gate in Eri's room. A giant case of fresh food items came through it. Funaho-sama asked me to send this to you to give to Sana. It's buckwheat noodles and udon. Funaho-sama? Why? Tenchi told her about Sana and she felt her circumstances and his were similar. After all, Sana is the second special case from Earth and she is the first. She said she'd give it to him directly, but it seems there are currently restrictions on communicating with him. Yes, that is the case. I'll try to deliver this to Amain's house directly, but for now I'm very busy. I don't know when I will get the time. How about you? Thanks to Washu, we finished everything extra and we're now expanding the scope of our work. That sounds neat. I guess I can take a bit of time to go deliver this to Sana. Try not to bug Kiriko or Sana too much. Minaho said, quickly ending the call to avoid being counterattacked. Hey, I wasn't the one calling unexpectedly at night. When the monitor went down, Eri noticed the corner of a familiar person's foot lingering in the hall behind it. Eavesdropping is a bad hobby, Principal Mikami. I knocked, but someone was busy talking to their daughter in nothing but their underwear. Well, you know what they say, girls will be girls. Funaho-sama and Minaho seemed to be pretty concerned about Sana. They even tried calling me about it. Mikami laughed, grabbing the handle of the box that was transferred in by Minaho. I told her to call her mother. I'm surprised our call was so brief after what happened with Kanemitsu. Haha, yeah, it seems everyone is getting married except her. Even Masao beat her to the punch. And Mahoshi's already living with Tenchi. I guess I'm the only one still single. Mikami said with a gloss in her eyes. I noticed, but you look pretty serious lately about resolving that situation. Did meeting that lady change your mind? Mikami was surprised Eri would bring her up. That lady of course meant widow, but historically in a conversation with Eri the topic was taboo. But for Eri it was already becoming a thing of the past. Yeah, it might have. Mikami remembered what happened when she met Widow and answered carefully. Meeting her reminded me of the time I met Sito. Well, in any case, if you decide to join in the race, just remember Minaho isn't doing so well, so you won't be the only horse. An alert came from Eri's mailbox. Oops, I nearly forgot. Eri opened Rariza's email message and started reading it. Mikami noticed her expression change and knew her work wasn't over for the night. Hey Mikami, it's still early, do you want to go out for dinner? Eri asked. Mikami smiled. Sure. Sena was busy in his room testing out his new furniture. He sat in one of his new chairs and looked at the view from the terrace. It was a great view and reminded him of the one he had seen at Nashisu. By the way, Eri said that was called Washu's Pour. She must have meant Tenchi's Washu, he thought for a while to himself. How do you get that thing started? Oh, right, I haven't set it up yet. Sena took out his ID card and launched the monitor from there. Thankfully, the knowledge necessary for using the keyboard had been installed as basic knowledge when he first left the Earth. I'm impressed. I never thought I'd ever be able to have my own computer, let alone one that starts up anywhere. Wait, what's that? There was a folder that he did not recognize. Was this what Kenneth was talking about? Sena wondered and almost opened the file but got a bad feeling and stopped. He remembered the kinds of things Kenneth was into and didn't want to open it in the unlikely event that Kiriko walked in to find him looking at such things. He had had a similar situation happen in the past. He had first seen an erotic book at Kai's house and Tsukiko came in and found him looking at it. So, Sena has become interested in such things as well. Sena remembered Tsukiko saying with a sad face, "Kai, who did you get this from?" Kai turned pale at the expression Tsukiko made when she said that. Sena ran and could hear terrible sounds coming from Kai's room. "I'm sorry, Tsukiko-san, forgive me." Then eventually she found Sena. "Hey, Sena-chan." Kai had run off somewhere to hide. "Hey, Sena-chan. Don't be scared." Sena was trembling and Tsukiko hugged him. If Sena wants to see, but he never heard what Tsukiko said though because she had buried his face into her chest and suffocated him. He lost consciousness. Sena recalled the soft feeling on his face and the trauma of suffocating at the same time. Ha ha ha. Anyway, Kiriko is similar in character to Tsukiko. I don't want there to be any chance of that happening again, but he had started the computer to look up Washu anyways. He opened up a search engine and typed Washu's name in the search box. As soon as he did, a billion frames opened through the room. Oh! He quickly tried to close them. Irma came in swimming through the monitors. "I'm sorry, I was just trying to do some research." "Oh, hold on, let me check your settings." Irma said, editing Sena's setup on his monitor, and all the windows suddenly organized themselves behind the one monitor. "Thank you, you saved me." "Oh, I see. So you were doing a search on Washu Hakubi. Today, after seeing that scenery, I am a little interested in the subject. While living in the academy, you're sure to hear all sorts of things about its most famous citizen, but it really won't do much good to do a search on her. She was here for over 15,000 years anyway." 15,000 years? Well, she only went missing 5,000 years ago. So, there's about 20,000 years of stuff on here total. Sena looked amazed at Irma's sense of time. On Earth, that was an archaeological amount of time. Is she really a human, that person? Oh, even ordinary people can live for about 2,000 years now, and with modern technology, you can live almost infinitely if you undergo special treatments like you did, Sena. With your bioenhancement, you should be around for much longer than 2,000 years. 2,000. The unrealistic figure stunned Sena. 2,000 is almost the same amount of time as the Christian calendar. Kiriko said that it wouldn't be possible to live a normal life. Is it this kind of thing she meant? It was then that Sena finally felt that he was no longer a normal Earthling for the first time. Are you freaked out by that? Yeah, a little. Well, Ms. Kiriko can probably be a better counselor to you on this than I can, since she is also from Earth, but I've never really thought much of it since everyone around me has always had a similar lifespan. Well, I guess that makes sense, but I still think Washu's 20,000-year age isn't normal. It's only recently that lifespan technology came out in general, but she was a philosopher when the Academy had its best scientist. And I've heard that there are even some students of hers that are still around due to the enhancements that were available to them with the private medical technology they had at the time. Hey, what's in this weird folder? Well, that's, Sena began to say, but Irma opened the folder, and just like Sena had imagined, it was filled with porn. Oh, what's this? Irma caught Sena by the collar as he tried to run away. It's just some files that my friends gave me. I know you just came into space, Sena. There's no way you collected all this yourself. I don't know how to delete it. Oh, you don't have to worry, Sena. You're a growing boy. You can't suppress your normal desires. while saying that Irma was busy changing settings on the files. But you're still a minor, and Kiriko will kill me if I don't do something. A beep sound came from the monitor. What were you doing? Just changing some things in your friendship folder. Friendship folder? Male friendship folder. Huh, and what are you changing? Well, I have an obligation to protect you, Sana. I can't allow you to access inappropriate images or personal data. Your friend seems to have a hobby for such things though, so I've put on age restrictions to the things that are a bit too adult for you. And I deleted the illegal pseudo-sex personal data, but don't worry, the rest will be unlocked when you're old enough. Oh, and before I forget, Irma launched a program she installed. A stereoscopic image of the building came up. Here's the security map of the house. If you ever want to do something but need to make sure no one is around, use this. Sana wanted to thank her, but he was also very embarrassed. Sana, Irma, can you come to the living room for a moment? A man's voice came from a monitor that came up. Okay, we'll be there soon. All right, Sana, let's go. Oh, that's right. If you're interested in Washu Hakubi, I'll give you a link to a good site later. Anyway, information on her is so abundant that no matter how much time you have to dedicate to it, it'll never be enough. They left and went down the stairs to the living room where Hakurin, Kiriko, and Amain were waiting on a sofa. They introduced the maids to Sana. He already knew them but went along with it. Jai-Kiran got out of line and was overly flirty, so Karen dragged her off to the kitchen. Amain distracted him from the situation by reminding him that it was time to train. Irma opened a small, locked box, which had been put in the corner of the living room, and activated a monitor and the keyboard. Inside was metal golf balls that floated up in the air. They moved to the four corners of the floor and the four corners of the ceiling. And then she scattered some objects on the floor. All right, let's get started. Amain, what is this? Your training equipment. Training equipment? It looks like building blocks. Sana picked up one of the parts scattered on the floor. It was hard and metallic and shiny, but it was surprisingly light. A translucent picture of a building block castle emerged about 4 meters away from the place where the building blocks were placed. All right, assemble the parts over there, according to my instructions. Haha, what? Sana laughed. He had imagined some kind of high-tech special training regimen. All right, we'll get started. I'll set your suit to 50% load first. Karen scolded Jai-Kiran in the kitchen. Do you want Kiriko to cave your skull in? I couldn't help it. When I saw that look on Sana's face, I just had to. Kiriko came in and scolded her too. Back in the living room, Sana was straining to assemble the blocks. His whole body hurt. If he put too much force on the blocks, they would crumble into a liquid metal and reassemble back at the starting point. If he was too gentle, they wouldn't move. Amain sat on the sofa watching him. She was quite amused. How's he doing? Kiriko asked, coming back into the room as she carefully looked into Irma's monitor so as not to distract her. Well, he seems to be doing his best. He'll probably get the hang of it soon. Irma said. I'm not worried about that. I meant have any effects from his probability vector manifested. Well, I've only started gathering data on that, but as expected, a bug has already occurred in the building blocks, and the required pressure for self-destruction of the blocks has changed steadily. But it seems that Sana has corrected his grip unconsciously to match it. Sana was about to grab a block that had the error but stopped and went towards another one. Is that just by coincidence? Right now, the data is insufficient to conclude anything, but the probability of not taking the block where the pressure error occurred is 100% so far. The value of the block Sana picked up began to drop sharply, and the block broke apart. This bug is causing a great deal of fluctuation in the difficulty of this. In a way, it's a good thing. I see. Well, I guess I'll go over to Sana's room to clean it up and get him a change of clothes since he's working so hard. Kiriko left and rushed up the stairs. Oh, Amain, Sana's muscle fatigue readings are rising sharply. He should take a break immediately. Okay, well then, let's take a break. What should we do now? Amain said. The blocks turned into a liquid and a table reformed where they had been. Oh, thank God. Sana said, collapsing on the floor. Amain decided to give Sana a sports massage to help him recover. Irma joined in. Sana-chan's already managed to make a mess of this place, Kiriko said, staring at Sana's room with disgust. Most of the furniture and daily necessities bought for Sena were still lumped together near the entrance of the room, and only the minimum items required were placed within reach around the desk and bed, and it was all huddled together. It looks like an animal's nest. Kiko looked over the large room again with a wry smile. She unpacked Sena's luggage, made his bed, and laid out his pajamas. She looked at her work with a satisfied smile. Oh, she looked like a newlywed wife. If Amain and Irma were there, they would have teased her, but they weren't, so she was doing what she wanted. Since early childhood, Kiko had taken care of most of the housework for her brother and Sena on behalf of her busy mother. Kiko enjoyed setting up a nice place to relax with Sena. Her greatest joy wasn't hanging out with friends or working on hobbies, but rather, she had always enjoyed staying at home studying with Sena after school the most. All right. Now it looks more like a room, she said, crying. She noticed herself crying and had a bit of a breakdown. Why are you crying? Why? The scenery in front of her made her feel uneasy. She began to remember the day she left the Earth and went up to space. Minaho and she watched the Earth getting smaller and smaller and smaller on Mikagami's bridge as they left it behind. Kiko felt a great sense of liberation. It came from her relief of finally being excused from taking care of Sena's bad luck, just as her mother had pointed out. Are you anxious? Minaho had asked her upon seeing her expression and taken hold of her hand. It was true that she felt uneasy, but it was because she felt it was her job now to protect the Earth. That was the price in her head to escape from Sena. No, it was an excuse she had made to justify her actions. In order to remove her own anxieties, Kiko pushed herself through Sito's training at an accelerated rate. She volunteered to take more of the curriculum at once in order to get proficient sooner. To protect Earth and Sena from threats coming from space. Kiko's sense of anxiety faded around the time she got accustomed to work and got used to being by herself. But at the same time, she felt a big hole in her heart open, and in order to fill it, she bought things and went out to do things with her friends, and she even tried dating other men. But it never filled the hole. No matter how much she did, she was never happy. Every now and then she would come back and check on Sena and the Earth to make sure they were safe, but it was only to justify her leaving. She tried to convince herself that she had made the right choice, but her visiting Earth only made her more and more sure she hadn't. And the day that Sena came to space, it scared Kiko. Of course, she feared for Sena's safety, but she feared returning to the ways of her old life even more. Don't worry about Sena. You should consider your own happiness. She noticed the true meaning of her mother's words and cried. What should I do? Kiko muttered while crying, but no one answered. She did not have the courage to actually consult someone about it. What should I do? She cried to herself for a while before slowly coming back to reality. She noticed her face reflected in the window. My face looks awful. Hello, are you there? What should I do? Kiko spoke to her right hand as she noticed the duvet covered with tears and makeup in front of her. I shouldn't, Kiko said as she stood up quickly. She pulled out a spare duvet and changed the bed again, and then she fixed her makeup. Yes, after all, whatever I think, there is only one option. It's a mother bird's job to teach its children to fly on their own. And so she made up her mind. She had to stay with Sena. She couldn't make the mistake of running away again. All right. I have to make everyone dinner soon. Kiko took out a change of clothes for Sena, took a deep breath to relieve her depressed mood. She took the clothes with her and left. Oh, have they already finished today's curriculum? Kiko wondered. When she went downstairs, she noticed no one was in the living room. In a bathroom like a greenhouse, many tropical plants were planted. Most of the walls and ceilings were made of glass. Despite being in the bathroom, there was no condensation, and the night sky and stars were clearly visible. Anyway, isn't it strange? Sena's probability bias has been acting up a lot less than we had expected. I wonder why that is. Irma said as she immersed herself in one of the bathtubs installed in a position slightly higher than the floor. She was checking data on a monitor that floated above the bath as Amain dragged Sena into the bathroom. If it's all the same to you, I'd rather give myself a massage, he said to Amain. Don't be ridiculous, you can't give yourself a massage, and besides that it's my duty as your instructor. Amain said, trying to take off the towel Sena had wrapped around him. Well, then you can do it while I'm still wearing my clothes, can't you? On the earth, do you take a bath while wearing clothes? Well, we take them off, but you can always give me one after the bath, can't you? I already saw you naked when we did your bioenhancement procedure. You have nothing to be shy about, and besides that we live together now. Sena was a bit confused. He noticed that Irma was also nonchalant about him getting stripped. He wondered if casual nudity was normal during bathing in space. Well then, first we need to get your body warm and relaxed. Amain said, pulling off Sena's towel and kicking him into the tub. Then she took off her own robe and jumped in. The water was slightly higher than body temperature. Sena hit the floor of the tub, but it was soft and elastic like a balloon and he bounced off of it. He panicked and reached out for something to grab. He found something and pulled himself up and gasped for air. Amain laughed. The thing Sena had grabbed was Amain's naked body. Sena tried to get away, but his legs cramped up. Amain grabbed him and sat him down gently on a table in the middle of the bath. Here, sit down and relax, she said, placing him in a chair like step in the tub. Take a deep breath. Amain's voice was calm and gentle, and he forgot he was even in a tub. He calmed down a bit, but then he remembered Amain was naked and tensed up again as he tried to scoot a bit away from her. If you're going to tense up, there's no reason in us even taking a bath now, is there? Amain said, getting in front of Sena. Sena blocked his view of her breasts with his hands. What, are you embarrassed? Amain said crankily. She grabbed his right leg, massaged it roughly. I'm sorry. Who are you apologizing to? Are you apologizing about getting a massage, or are you ashamed to take a bath with us? Well, I'm just kidding. I understand why you're embarrassed. You're shy. With that, Amain's massage became gentle. But I used to work as a model. I am not conscious about being naked or seeing other people naked. I'm conscious of my duty. I used to have to change in front of others all the time. All right, we're done with this side. Now I need you to roll over and lay face down. Sena rolled over. As the massage went on, Sena's limbs, which had felt like lead, became surprisingly limber, and he fell asleep during the massage from comfort and fatigue. Irma came towards them. Oh, Sena fell asleep already. Wow! If you look closely, his body is covered in scars. On his back were countless scars, no large scratches, but many minor cuts from injuries past. I wonder if Kiko took care of all of these herself. No wonder Kiko is so nervous about Sena. Anyways, Sena's skin is pretty smooth regardless of the scars. Why this sudden topic jump? Aren't we talking about his scars? I was drinking with Kiko on the evening of the day before the entrance ceremony. We fell asleep and nearly overslept, so I hopped in the shower pod with Kiko and noticed her skin was really smooth too. Oh, Amain-san. Are you? Irma wondered. I do not care about things like that. Besides, a man's skin is better, but his skin reminded me of Kiko's. Sena woke up and tried to figure out what was going on. What are you doing? I'm giving you a massage. When Amain and Irma responded to Sena's question at the same time, they laughed. Kiko came in and looked mad. What took you so long, Kiko? You're late. Do you want to help give Sena a massage? Kiko suppressed the urge to explode. Amain sensed danger and immediately backed away from Sena. Kiko picked up a wooden wash bucket and threw it at Amain, but it bounced off her guardian and hit Sena in the face. While silent, Amain and Irma watched Kiko storm out and slam the door closed violently in outrage. After hitting Sena, the bucket fell on the floor, making a thunky sound. Amain and Irma turned to check on Sena. Hey Sena, are you okay? Amain said as she hugged Sena. He was dazed and confused. He looks okay. That's odd. His guardian should have activated. So, Irma, are you going to go outside and talk to Kiko, or should I? Amain looked awkwardly at Irma. That's kind of like asking me if I want to go into a forest full of deadly beasts. Amain wondered what to do about the situation when she heard the doorbell ring. We have a visitor. Well, hopefully it's a god of salvation and not a devil that brings forth a new disaster. Sena began to regain consciousness, and they both lifted him up and brought him with them. Kariko was experiencing some internal turmoil in the other room over what she had just done. She hadn't meant to hit Sana or to get violent over nothing. She heard the doorbell ring though and went to check on it, but Hakurin and Swearin had already let the guests in. Eri-san. And Mikami? Kariko-chan, how would you like for us to make dinner for you? Eri said, but she didn't wait for a response and headed straight for the kitchen. When Kariko came in, Hakurin and Swearin were laying out dishes. Eri had already cooked at Nashishu and Eri was already eating soba. Sana, Amain, and Irma had joined in. Why are you here, Eri? Kariko asked. I brought soba noodles and udon to celebrate Sana's housewarming. Well, actually Funaho sent them through Minaho, but I cooked them. Eri said, having a drink that Hakurin brought her. Well, thank you for that. Why is Mikami-sama here as well? Ho ho ho, because they sent me alcohol to bring. Kariko was in a drinking mood and didn't question the matter further. They ate and drank. Eri told Sana that she had actually gotten his family to come for the admission ceremony, but they were stuck in the outer ring due to the security system's failure. As they ate and drank, Eri got drunk and started hanging on to Sana. She asked if she could go into Sana's room and lay down. Mikami also asked to go with her so she could check on Sana's NB. NB? Sana, you couldn't get it to start correctly, right? I'll configure it for you, but until I do I need you to keep everyone out of your room just to be safe. And with that she dragged Eri with her to Sana's room. Mikami closed the door and locked it. Well, that went smoothly. Eri said, looking around the room. Kariko-san has sure tidied this place up. Eri dived into Sana's bed like it was a pool. Where did you put your NB, Sana? Eri asked. Oh, it's over there, he said, pointing to it. Mikami headed towards it. She took NB out of its storage box and launched a keyboard. After that, a few command monitors came up all around NB. There's no helping it, I need Eri for this. Sana, could you please help Eri sit up? Sana got in bed behind Eri and propped her up from behind. Oh, yeah. Sana, you are so bold. Oh ho ho. Eri drunkenly said, leaning against Sana. He had his arms wrapped around her stomach, and she slumped so that his hands rose up her abdomen to her chest. Eri-san, please don't lean so much. I will if you kiss me, Eri said, closing her eyes and protruding her lips towards Sana. Principal Mikami, do something. I know it's troublesome, but just bear with the situation for now. Ho ho ho. That's easier said than done. Hesitantly, Sana lightly kissed Eri's forehead. Eri opened her eyes dissatisfied. But she snapped back to sobriety a bit and stood up and put out both hands to be read by the monitor. When Eri put both hands on the activated monitor plate, the body scan started. Eri sang a song. Shitoji Shingoji, the garden of the shrine is one of the moonlit night. Come and see, come and come. Eri suddenly began singing, Shishiro no Tadashi Bashiko. What are you doing? Quiet, it's a voice certificate that encrypts it. Mikami told Sana in a low voice. Ping. When Eri's song was over, NB's protection was disabled. I leave it to you, Eri said, closing her eyes and passing out against Sana. Ho ho ho, this is easy work, please be patient a little more. Wow, Sana said, as he watched Mikami work. Don't think I'm not capable at things just because I'm old enough to be a grandmother. I used to rival Sito herself back in the day. It's a long story. Sana gazed at Mikami with astonishment in his eyes. Mikami's finger movements were so fast. Oh, what's this? Mikami came across Kenneth's friendship folder, which had been renamed Irma. This folder seems to be interfering with my installation. Please don't open that. What? Why? What's in there? Eri asked. She got up on her own and went towards Mikami. Sana panicked and tried to catch Eri from behind, but fumbled and fell on the bed. Oh he. I see. She said, looking at the monitor. Your friends have terrible tastes. None of these women have any of the experience and beauty that comes with age. Don't worry, I'll back it up and finish my work. Sana, you won't need us for the initial registration procedure. It's simple, just put in your ID card, and with that she grabbed Eri by the collar and dragged her out of the room. Sana was relieved to finally have peace and quiet in his room. I am tired. I'll configure NB tomorrow. I just want to go to bed now. Sena changed into the pajamas that Kariko laid out for him and put the NB on his desk and stared at it. I wonder why they chose today to mess with this, he wondered. He put his ID card into the slot on the NB. Its eyes gleamed and it scanned him. User, Sena Yamada. I have confirmed you as master. Why does it sound like Eri? The NB spoke in Eri's voice. Eri? Master, does that mean you wish to name me Eri? Oh no. Your voice is just the same as a person I know. You know what I mean? Yes, but not completely. With future data accumulation, I will be able to understand the subtle nuances of you, Master. The voice currently in use is based on the basic setting, but it is possible to change it according to the taste of the Master. Would you like me to change it now? No, I am tired today. I will do it tomorrow. Okay, so how about setting up the schedule management systems, Master? Your public schedule has already been installed. If you let me know something you wish to do, I can add it to schedule. Think of me as your secretary. I can also set a wake-up time for you and pick out clothes and prepare breakfast. A monitor with a rough schedule appeared in front of Sena. The GP Academy curriculum was described in detail there. From there, what seemed to be today's schedule table emerged, and the table divided into seconds which became dark as time passed. I have no plans for tonight, and the only thing I have set up for tomorrow is home training. Understood. I will switch to sleep mode. Good night, Master. Good night. Sena confirmed and the light disappeared from NB and Sena got in bed and went to sleep. As he slept, NB changed shape. Its voice changed to sound like one that you would find on the news. Good morning, everyone. Is everyone at the academy having a wonderful morning today? And then it turned back into a sphere and stopped moving or making sound. Oh, Master, did I wake you? Eri drunkenly talked to herself in the mirror as she tried on a maid outfit. I wonder what would happen if I woke Sena up like this tomorrow. Ho ho, Sena's heart may stop, Mikami said. It's more likely that Kariko would stop your heart first if you tried. Karen said. Mikami, Karen, Jaikirin, and Swearin were watching Eri make an idiot of herself as she tried on the maid outfit. Why? It looks nice, I'm going to do it. Is she serious? I can't tell. If she's serious, we should stop her, Hakurin said. Jaikirin and Karen agreed, and so they began dragging Eri to the elevator. I am not scared of Kariko-chan, she said as they dropped her off in the elevator. She saw her reflection on the walls and started posing as the door shut on her. Mikami, thank you for today. A maid said bowing as Kariko and Irma walked her towards the entrance. I had a lot of fun. Eri might have had a bit too much fun, but don't worry, I'll make sure she gets into work tomorrow no matter how hard that is. She got on the elevator. When am I going to get a break? She sighed as the elevator closed, and soon she arrived at the first floor where the staff greeted her and whispered something to her. Mikami, I was waiting for you, a drunk Eri said, and they went past the staff and onto another elevator that was just around plate. However, they found themselves in a room with a domed roof in which soft lighting poured in. At first glance it looked like a garden with trees, but the things growing there weren't plants, but groups of various minerals. Sito and Washu were waiting, surrounded by a huge quartz pillar atop a small staircase lined with a velvet carpet. I am sorry to keep you busy. Please sit down, Sito said. Mikami sat where Sito pointed. How long did it take you to make something like this? She asked Washu. Originally, this was one of my laboratory facilities. It seemed to be convenient to hold a meeting here. It didn't take much time to tidy the place up. I'm just lucky the developer of this place kept my lab intact, ha ha ha. Was he one of your students? He was just a cowardly guy from a long time ago. Mikami had actually acquired the island before a main bought it, and all the staff was actually put there by Sito, Mikami, and Eri. Here you go, Eri said as she brought everyone tea. Oh, Eri, what took you so long? Eri was still wearing the maid's clothes from earlier, but she had sobered up. In the private room of the servants of a maid's house, there was secretly a transfer gate to this and other places. I got distracted planning something, ahahaha. Ho ho, I hope you take Hakurin's advice frankly, but I wish you well. Give out tea and start explaining. When Eri finished delivering tea and cake to each of them, the meeting began. We finished gathering the report on the brain remodeled spies. We found none in Jurai or in the Kuromitsu's employ, but we found more than expected in the academy. The technology is in fact the same as that used with Mahoshi, but, Eri said. Washa interrupted, but it obviously was derived from a different point in development. Thankfully, because of that, it is easy to find the spies. Eri took over the conversation again. Yes, and there are no other cases of brain remodeling similar to Mahoshi's, so we know the technology comes from there for sure. In recent years, the number of spies naturally increased with the increased number of new recruits. We aren't sure what their plan is, but oddly it seems the newer spies are organized differently from the old ones. The old ones were all clustered in the same departments, and the new ones are all in random places. Eri finished her report and took a seat. Washa began speaking. It's just my personal opinion, but I think it seems like the spy plan seems to have been taken over by a different leader from when it started, and that's why it's like that. Whoever took it over doesn't know what they're doing and has no interest in actually taking over the academy. They must just want information. They're too scattered to be effective in a hostile takeover. The first wave was clearly meant to gather specific intel, but the second type is all randomly placed. Sito spoke, as Washa said. There is no doubt that there has been a change in the intent of the enemy strategy. Anyways, sweeping out the infiltrators is our first priority now. Hopefully, we can get some data from them in the process and figure out what happened. Hey Washu, do you think it would be possible for you to poke around in their astral memory and figure out what happened to them when their brains were remodeled? Theoretically, if you could read someone's astral memory, you could see everything that ever happened to them. But without the exact data required, you wouldn't be able to retrieve it. No, that is not going to happen. You would have to do an astral copy of all of them if you want that done, Washa said. Sito responded, you know how much power you need to do that. In order to check that large number of people, you'd need a Ryooki type or second-generation class Imperial tree, and there's no way I can do that from behind the scenes. Washa spoke, Sito, it's dangerous to mess around too much with the astral sea. And I will not interfere in this world as a Choshin goddess, even if the result is getting something like Tenchi. Neither will Tsunami or Tokimi. Unlike you, Sito, I don't believe in cheating on tests. Alright, I get it. Washa-chan, you don't have to be so mean about it, Sito responded. Eri chimed in, oh, that reminds me, I found out where that missing AI went. I got an email from Areza. Mikami and I went to visit her in virtual space. In the living room of Kirchi in the virtual space, Eri and Kirchi were sitting on the sofa face to face with each other. I love him. Kirchi teared up. Oh, when I say such pretty things, my emotions escape me. Kirchi, why won't you return home? Do you dislike your father? Eri asked. Her father tried to forge a fake body and fake birth certificate for her so he could get married to her. It was illegal to marry an AI you created if it had an astral unless you were separated for 100 years before the marriage. So, she ran away. Eri pointed out that what Kirchi was doing by setting up a home with Seina's astral data was basically exactly what her father wanted to do with her. She was conflicted over this and cried. Hey Kirchi, you aren't just a program, you're different. So why not try to make a life with the real Seina instead of just a non-sentient copy of him? Think of it this way, as long as he is asleep, he is all yours to take care of. I'd like to ask you to be Seina's security escort, watch over him and report back to me. Think it over for a while. Kirchi gave a small nod. Well, I have things to do, I have to go, Eri said. She left the meeting. By the way, Mikami, when will Widow's astral be delivered? Washo asked. Well, it is going to be impossible until the end of her trial. But the sentence is guaranteed just on her report alone. So probably 24 hours after that. Even now, though, I'm trying to keep her as isolated from others as possible. She has as little contact with other people as possible. The trial itself will be done under quarantine. Do you think it's really okay to use Widow's astral as the core? It would be a waste to scatter her astral back into the astral sea. So, this means that you're actually planning another ship like you made 700 years ago? Yes, but only because I feel there is a great enough reason for me to do it. History is moving in a good direction and Seina is key to that. How do you two feel about that? Washu aimed a challenging smile at Sito. In response, Sito looked to the Senoan representative, Mikami, to get consent. Please create the best ship possible, Washa-chan, Mikami said, smiling. Amain was drinking wine in the garden of her home. Irma joined her. She pointed out that the maids were clearly planted there by Sito. They both decided to confront Hakurin about it. They got to drinking with Hakurin and Swearin. She tried to change the subject and asked Amain if she had known Sena a long time. Amain told her how they met and why she gave him the pamphlet. The pamphlet should have rejected to sign Sena up anyways because it had security measures in place to prevent normal people from joining. But Sena's probability vector probably messed with it. Do you regret giving Sena the chance to come to space? There's no point in regretting what has already happened, but I think that maybe my decision was a little insensitive towards Kiriko. They went to bed after their talk.